Hello everyone and welcome to Conics 2. Just before we start Conics 2, we're going to have a quick recap of Conics 1. And in Conics 1 we looked at how a circle or ellipse can be generated by cutting 3D objects. So we had the cylinder being cut with a horizontal plane would produce a circular shape. So would a cone if it was cut with a plane that was level to the base. And remember, we liken those planes to like sheets of glass, and you could imagine them slicing through an object. Then for an ellipse, they'd be cutting at an angle, okay, to put it simply. And same for the cone. And if you cut either of those objects, you will get an elliptical shape. So we went on then and we sketched them down, how they cut the 3D objects. And finally, finishing up, we actually drew an ellipse in Conics 1. And the most important thing out of that there, the last day, was the major axis, which is the length from one side to the other, and the minor axis going from the bottom to the top. Okay, and we had a look at the circle and the different pieces and parts of it as well. So finally, when I finished our sheets, it looked pretty much like this here. So the main focus of today's tutorial is how to get something called focal points. In an ellipse, there are two focal points, and they are very important because each of those focal points have a special relationship with every single point on the curve of an ellipse. So to find them, if you had your ellipse drawn, you would get a compass, measure half the major axis, and you can see the line turning red now, and then place it on the top of the minor axis, or the bottom, wouldn't make any difference. Swing an arc, and where that arc cuts the major axis would find you your two focal points. Now there's two other red lines after appearing in, because that is just to show you it is the exact same distance from A to both focal points, and it is also the same distance for half the major axis. So we'll just have a look at another example of drawing an ellipse before we go on to do our question on with pencil and paper and to find the focal. And here we are creating a circle with the pin and string method, and you can see how the center of the circle, that focal point, has such a key relationship to every single point on the circumference of a circle. So in this video I'm just showing you the pin and string method of drawing an ellipse. Now we will not be doing this ourselves, it's just for a demo, but what I want you to take away from it is that how important the focal points are, because a focal point has a special relationship to every single point on the curve of an ellipse. Just the same way when we looked at the circle and how the center of the circle, the focal point of that, has a special relationship to every single point on the circumference. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw the ellipse as we did in the last tutorial. Now the major for this one is 160 mil and the minor is 110 in length. Okay, so we'll kick off there. First thing we have to do is draw our major circle. Second thing then is to draw our minor. And then we're going to divide it up with our 60-30 set square. Now when we've that divided into 12 equal portions, where it hits the major circle, okay, and we'll just label these again as we're going along. So that's the major circle, the outer one. This is the minor circle. where it hits the dividing lines hit the major circle, we're going to drop lines perpendicular to the major axis. And where the dividing lines hit the minor circle, we're going to do lines that are perpendicular to the minor axis, or horizontal lines, when the ellipse is lying as it is now. This will give us a series of points. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 from the start, and then we get 8 more. And remember, try and do your ends first, so you'll have a nice flat nose. And then go over heavier when you're happier with it. Now, just to say to you while we're doing this, the more dividing lines you put in, the more points you would have, okay? But in general, this is all we do because of time constraint in exams. Now that is my ellipse drawn. I already had a circle drawn, and we talked about in the video how the focal point would be here, and it has a special relationship with every single point on the curve. Now we're going to go ahead here and we're going to get the focal points for this ellipse, okay? So for this ellipse, and any ellipse, what you do is you get your compass and you mark off half the major axis, okay? Mark off half the major axis. Now if you put it on the top, or you could put it on the bottom, doesn't matter, because it's symmetrical. Swing there, cut the major axis on the right and on the left. Where these cut the major axis, we will get a focal point on the left, we'll call it F1, and we'll get one on the right, and we'll call that F2, okay? And that is how you get the focal points. So the relationship is, it's the exact same distance from here, which is half the major axis, to either focal point, okay? So that guy is the same as that guy there. Not parallel, but just the same length. Okay? So one more time for a recap before we finish. How do you get your focal points? Well, you get your compass, set it to half the major axis, move it to the top or bottom of the minor axis, and there you swing an arc. Where the arc cuts the major axis will find you your 2 focal points. And the 3 lines appearing show you that the distance from the top or bottom of the minor axis to a focal point is the same as half the major axis. So please remember that, folks. That is one of the most important points you will learn about ellipses. Okay, that's it, folks. More videos to come. Take care and stay safe.